Obviously, penalties hurt us, kind of gets us out of our flow, out of the momentum of the game, and can't do that if we're going to win. But some good things and definitely some things to fix up. So first game of the year, we'll take it and move on.
Coming into this one, what's kind of the emphasis been?
Just more of the same, kind of getting back to our structure, everyone kind of getting in the same place. First couple weeks of the season, everyone playing together. You just want to get a feel for how we're doing, like system-wise, what we're doing. Everyone get to know their job, know where they're supposed to be. So we'll look to sharpen that up tonight.
I mean, you guys saw some stars in Game 1. There's obviously a lot of star power in Tampa here. I mean, when you play a team like that, how important is it to kind of keep it within the structure and not let it become a track meet kind of thing?
Yeah, no, we definitely don't want a track meet. We want to play a structured defensive game. I think that's how we're going to have success. And every team's going to have their players that can hurt you. So on any given night, you have to be playing a good structure and good defensively. So it doesn't matter if it's Jersey, Tampa, anybody. It's you have to play that way.
How would you kind of compare and contrast the challenge posed by New Jersey versus Tampa?
Somewhat similar. Tampa may be a little bit of a bigger, heavier team as opposed to Jersey, more of a smaller skating team. But in saying that, Tampa's a fast team too. They can skate. So similar, but probably a little bit more of a heavy physical game with Tampa.
Benny, the veteran presence, I know it's still very early in the season, but have you sensed kind of the difference that this group has brought in this year?
Yeah, definitely. More lively room, I guess you could say, more confident, more voices, guys who have been around the league a little bit longer and know what their role is, so definitely more veteran room.
What were your takeaways from the other night in New Jersey, and how do you see that, I guess, projecting forward onto Tampa tonight?
Yeah, I think we played a good game. I think there are some things we wanted to get better at and not take as many penalties. If you look at our first period, I thought we were by far the better team. We had a lot of looks, a couple posts, some grade A chances, and you got to give credit to Vanacek. He played well, and in the second, they had their pushback, and we still had our looks, but they're a good team, and I think we took too many penalties, and we made some turnovers that cost us, but I think in general it's a really positive game for us, and it shows we can play with the best teams in the league.
How does I know there are obviously some similarities as well, but what do you see as, I guess, different about the challenge of playing New Jersey versus Tampa?
Well, I think Tampa, they're a two-time Stanley Cup champion. That core is still there. Yeah, they lost some pieces, but they brought in other guys. But at the end of the day, they still have one of the best players in the world, in Stamkos and Kuch and Hedman and those guys back there, and it's going to be a challenge for us. But there's no bad teams in this league. Anyone can beat anyone on any given night. But it's good for us to start the year with two teams that are favorites to make the playoffs.
Derek mentioned yesterday, I think in particular in relation to Chiarot, that he can just make something out of nothing so quickly. I'm curious, going up against a truly elite player like that, how you, go about combating that.
Don't turn the puck over, but he's going to get his looks. It's just the realistic part of it. He's an elite player. If you look at the game against Nashville, he's standing at the blue line and gets the puck, and a second later it's in the back of the net. Just we're going to have to play him hard. He's one of the best players in the league, and there's a reason why. But you're going to get his looks, but you try to minimize those looks.
Sprong, our home opener here tonight. What have guys told you just about the environment and how are you feeling heading into the first game at Little Caesars?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good crowd here. Everyone's excited, and I think there's a good hype around us this year here with the fans in Detroit, and I think we want to get off to a good start at home.
Are you still anticipating a call-up? Maybe?
Yeah, we'll call it just for body up. He's not here right now. I don't know what that's going to look like, but Fab's unavailable for tonight. We hope to have him on Monday. He had a pretty productive day. He didn't skate, so we hope to have him Monday. But we'll go 11-7, comfortable with that, and we'll be tonight.
Does that, as far as call-up wise, is when your guy's coming up just as a body, does that kind of change the equation for maybe a younger guy who could play for Grand Rapids tonight?
That is a great question. Sometimes it's necessity, because we want those guys all playing and playing a lot and playing significant roles. We're not going to bring up one of the younger guys that's so raw in their development to stand up in the press box tonight. So I'm sure it'll be someone a little more probably veteran presence if something happens, and through warm-ups or during the day he's available and potentially be available for Monday.
for Bob when he's managing kind of the D with the 7? Obviously, I know you trust him in that role, but what kind of conversations do you kind of have him with how you keep everyone
We
involved?
talked about it today. He hasn't done a ton of it in his career. Obviously, I think it's very valuable. You can chase some matchups. Obviously, we've got some special teams needs in there. Get those, D coming back after special teams. You get a feel. Someone's not going. Someone's not having a top night. Like I even go back the other night. Would have loved Ole for some defensive matchups in that game on the road. So it'll be work in progress. I'm extremely comfortable with it, and actually I'm looking forward to it tonight.
I think Sider was at around 26 minutes
Yep.
the other night. Is that about where you would project him throughout
That
the
might be a little more than I think for him. Obviously, you look around the league, all the top D, that's right about the wheelhouse. Obviously, some are more extreme, but so that's not uncommon. But what we're trying to do, where he is, we'd like a little bit less than that, but just kind of how that game played out. All the special teams, plus we were chasing it, we tied it late, and then we were trying to score late, so his numbers creeped a little higher than what we had probably hoped and wanted to do going forward, but that's how it played out.
Is the vision with the Rasmussen Cop Sprong line just how heavy those other two can be down low to get Sprong, looks from
Yep.
scoring areas?
Yeah, but I was really impressed with Spronger's play on entries. He's not just a shooter, and which is a really good sign for us. So again, with 7-11, I think you'll see some different looks throughout. But again, not married to anything at all. But we talked about DeBrinket and Dylan being consistent and hasn't been all through camp or early on, but we're pretty comfortable with the chemistry of Kopp and Ras too. It also gives us two killers that are available at times. So that's not necessarily married to that line either.
And as you manage around an open wing spot, do you want only wings rotating in? Would you?
No, we'll do everything. We'll do everything. We've got 4 centers we're extremely comfortable with. We can put any one of those 4 on the wing. Kopp, Joey had a little bit, and even JT have all seen some wing time. So that's why I like the flexibility of 11-7.
Are we seeing less and less of a divide now with the player skill set between center and winger? Is it something where today's player coming up is a little bit more comfortable playing?
That is a really good question because we battle that in the room at times, especially with some of our young guys. You draft a center, you want him to develop as a center. I really think that position, exactly what you said, it's a little overused, and I think it's a little bit of a hybrid in that you guys see it's usually the first guy back ends up defending down low. You get switches in the D zone all the time. I think that old school center being just a center and being down low and just supporting through the dots everywhere, I think it's kind of interchangeable. So we talk about that all the time. We have no problem, especially we have centers there. We get 2 centers on the line. Maybe obviously with JT, you get a righty lefty for potential face-offs.
This early in the season, do you do much advanced scouting on an opponent, or is it kind
of? Oh yeah, for sure. We that's just part of the process. Our video guy is 3 games back, tendencies. We have a whole library. Even Tampa. Obviously within our division, we see these guys so much, but Tampa's changed their D zone, which was a little surprise for me. I know they were working extremely hard at it in the summer, so it was a little different. We're no different. We had different enhancements and tweaks to our structure too. So yeah, absolutely, it's a big part of it.
More man-on-man for them?
No, probably more that box and one, Boston Bruin type look. So it was interesting to watch back. And so, again, it's not a whole lot different. They're all kind of blend in and are very similar. It's a little bit different look.
What does it take to beat that box and one look?
Yeah, just move. You could say that box and one. I think any D zone. If you get good puck movement, get any D zone moving. I think the box and one, any of the other overloads, hybrids are all the same. People they outnumber now. Every D zone, no matter what it looks like. That box and one could be 5 guys in a 20-foot area too. You just got to get box. You just got to get that box moving and the D zone moving.
Kind of similar to what Vegas used last year through the playoffs.
Similar, yeah. And again, I think you guys are overthinking this. I get it. Someone had an article about them changing box and one.
Yeah.
There's very little difference between, Bruce Cassidy's certainly one. Bruce Cassidy's also the luxury of some really, really big D. So their box, they cover a little more box in their boxes with some of their D. Again, you guys, even the good hockey mind would watch tonight and not see a whole lot of difference between our two D zones.
Obviously, home openers are exciting, but does that add another level of excitement because you guys are playing?
Yeah, so the opening night, the home opener, that's been sports for hundreds of years. There's a little extra attention to it. The energy of our fans, I think, is extra. I mean, that game in New Jersey was absolutely rocking the other night. Even the emotions. We played 82 of those games. We take the totality of that game and how well we played. Game 55, we're looking at it as a good game within our process. Game 1, you're like, missed opportunity. It's just the reality of the emotions being really high and low. So yes, the home opener is a big deal, and you want to play as such.
Jake Wallman mentioned the electric atmosphere in New Jersey. Do you think that translates onto the ice for the guys playing?
100%. And I really liked the way we handled it. That first period, it was, we were awesome. We did everything correct. And as a coach, you're nervous. You have this process, and you don't know how it's going to start. And then you go in to an environment like that. We could have played our best and still been on our heels. But I give our guys credit. They translated into a really good first period. But, credit to New Jersey, they had their pushback in the second. So hoping for a similar start tonight. As you look back at Tampa, watching their game back, they absolutely world beaters, looked dominant in their first period against Nashville. That's a credit to the group.
It's a good lesson for your guys because you guys are on the other side where you come into a building and you can kind of feed off being the bad guy for lack of a word.
I just addressed the boys this morning. Last year, we talked about not turning pucks over to Tampa. Be aware when Cooch and Point are on the ice. No on-man rushes. First shift, ozone turnover, D-pinch, Cooch, Point breakaway, back of the netted end. So it's one thing to be prepared. It's another thing. The game's so fast and what translates. So, again, this team's no different. You're going to hear it all year from me. Just the division and the amount of talent in the division and the elite talent division. If you fuel these offenses, it's a recipe for disaster.
You heard the new bullhorn go off yet?
I have not, but I've heard a lot about it. So actually it's pretty cool. I think those things, this is why we're always doing things that just makes this such a unique and exciting place to be part of.
Are there certain parts, like you talk about the history here and they do a good job having the wall here, like when you ever kind of stop and take a look at all that stuff?
Yeah, there's not a day I don't appreciate what this organization is about and how grandiose it is and the history of it and our fan base and the electricity of the fan base. The odd dinner when someone's been overserved and has a comment on something I don't love, but for 99% of the time, it's an absolute honor to be that coach of Red Wings.